We've heard for years, I guess for 8 years minus 1 day, that the story about President Obama is he is an autocratic madman, passing executive orders left and right, doing what he wants, unchecked dictatorial attitude towards governance. The reality is, not only has President Obama not come for all your guns yet, he's got a few hours left to do it. I'm skeptical. Not only has President Obama not put everybody into FEMA camps or turned the United States into some kind of Marxist, Kenyan, Indonesian socialist paradise.
Unless he does that today.
Unless he does it today. And time is short, President Obama. And as far as executive orders are concerned, President Barack Obama has averaged fewer executive orders per year in office than any U.S. president in, here we go now, 120 years. Despite that, some of the orders that he has passed will no doubt be undone by Donald Trump. Not all of them can be. Let's take a look at some of the numbers. As of January 13th, President Obama had issued 275 executive orders. This puts him at, we can keep that up, Pat, 34 executive orders per year. And just start reading back. George W. Bush averaged more orders per year. Clinton, George H.W. Bush, Reagan, Carter, Ford, Nixon, Johnson, Kennedy, Eisenhower, Truman, all the way back to Grover Cleveland 120 years ago. So long ago, Pat, that it didn't even fit into our list. You have to go back 120 years to find a president that issued fewer executive orders than Barack Obama. But the Republican Party said he was out of control, tyranny and stuff. He's Kenyan and all that stuff. Guess not, huh?
This even surprised me, though. I thought because Obama had such an obstructionist Congress for the majority of his presidency,
right,
and some of his biggest accomplishments in his second term, at least, were immigration reform that was enacted by executive order.
Indeed.
I thought that number would be much higher.
Well, what you're pointing out is really interesting, which is even if it turned out that President Obama had signed historically a lot of executive orders, you could make the case that it was partially related to the unprecedented obstruction that we saw from the Republican House and Senate. Even still, though, that still is not the case. There's one more counter we will hear from the sort of Obama derangement syndrome types. Obama is hiding executive orders by not calling them executive orders, by calling them presidential memos. And the number of presidential memos that he has signed exceeds past presidents. That's also bogus, and it's been debunked. President Obama, let me take a step back. Presidents can choose whether or not to make presidential memos public, and President Obama has opted to make many of his presidential memos public. So the allegation that Trump has signed more presidential memos than past presidents is only an observation of the fact that President Obama has made public more presidential memos than past presidents. It tells us nothing about the total number of memos signed.
And just to put this into even more context, Obama seems to have totaled 275 executive orders.
Yeah.
You look back in history, FDR had 3,522.
Yes.
So it's clearly not an indication of whether someone's a good president or not.
And particularly with FDR's numbers, think about how long he was in office also. So that
12
also,
years,
that
yeah.
also is a factor. Let's see how many executive orders Trump issues. I mean, if you're against presidents acting unilaterally, then you certainly wouldn't use executive orders yourself, right? Oh, well, I guess he is going to tomorrow. He's already expected to sign some executive orders. The argument will be, well, Trump had to in order to undo the orders that President Obama signed. You're telling me that with a Republican House and a Republican Senate and a Republican president, you're going to need executive orders to get things done? Kind of weird. Doesn't really make sense to me. Discuss this story and any others on our Reddit discussion forum at davidpakman.com/Reddit. Remember, huge, big league membership special tomorrow. Just make sure you're on our newsletter. You can sign up at davidpakman.com.
Gamefly is sort of like Netflix for video games. They have over 8,000 new and classic games for Xbox One, Xbox 360, PS4, PS3, Wii, and a bunch of other platforms. And you can play as many games as you want for one monthly fee. And if you find some games you want to keep, you can buy them for a low used price. There's never any due dates or late fees. And our audience can get a free 30-day trial at gameflyoffer.com/TDPS. The games are shipped directly to you with return envelopes included. There's no contracts, and you can rent games through the mobile app. Get the free 30-day trial for the David Pakman Show audience and support our show by going to gameflyoffer.com/TDPS.